Yeah,
further, style of play. I didn't think it was. I thought it was a soft one. But then when you said what you said, I thought, there's a good point there. Because then, at what point do you start protecting these players
yeah,
from a serious injury? So it sort of like sends out a message, don't it? It sends out a message to other players to say you can't play like that and expect
yeah.
just a yellow card, which is like a slap on the wrist, really, for these players. So yeah, I think I'm swayed now by your argument, to say yeah. But if it was against us, I think it would have been
It would have felt harsh,
it
but
would yeah, it
but
would yeah,
I mean, I always think that's quite an interesting thing about football anyway. That
right,
I don't know whether it's true to say. It probably is true to say that a majority of football fans will see it differently if it's
yeah,
their team who's being penalised.
yeah,
And I guess that would apply to most of us. And it's no good me saying, oh, that doesn't apply to me, but
yeah,
because it probably does. But consciously, I like to be fair in what I see. And it's like, I've said it before, but over the years, I go and see Palace and I've seen people like Wayne Rooney, David Beckham, and so on. And of course,
mm,
when these really big names like them come to your ground with their teams in a league match,
mm,
they just attract a load of boos when they're
yeah,
going to take a corner. Beckham, and he gets sort of booed heavily, and Rooney the same. And because they are, either England skipper or very good footballers, which they were.
mm,
And I think it's a shame because I've always taken the view that where occasionally really great footballers come along, whoever they are, someone frankly like Harry Kane, I always believed he was world class for Tottenham. I like to think I pay my money, I pay good money to see excellent footballers,
right,
whoever they're playing for. When we watch the World Cup, we can all be impressed, with someone in the German team or any other foreign team. And I think so many football fans miss a lot of the game they're watching because
right,
they hate everything that the opposition do. Every decision the ref makes against our team, they boo or whatever. I'm not saying everybody is like that. I'm just
mm,
saying there's some really great footballers don't come along too often. So when they do, for my part, I want to watch them. I'm not going to say I'm going to clap them just because they've walked on the pitch, but I like to think I can recognise a brilliant goal when I see one, albeit
yeah,
with the opposition. Um, Palace have just digressing a bit, but Palace have got a bit of an Indian sign. Probably shouldn't say that now about an Indian sign in this day and age, should we? They've got a bit of a thing over Aston Villa,
right,
and of course, last Sunday, last week, Palace went to Villa and won 3-0.
yeah,
Now, we beat them in the semi-final of the FA Cup. And last season, I think we knocked them out of the Carabao Cup as well. The two league games were drawn there and we beat them at home. So there is a bit of a thing about Palace, and I think their fans know that. But after the games, since those games, and including last week, I like to go onto YouTube and see one of their fans who does this sort of vlog. He videos it from the start when he gets up, and if he's going to Villa Park or if he's going down to Palace. And I think he's brilliant. I really do, and I can't think of his name. But he's so professional, and obviously he's filming it during the match as well and he laments it when Villa were not doing very well, and so on. And you he's amongst all the Villa fans, so it's a very good and entertaining blog. And before and afterwards, he's in his car and he's just talking calmly about it. But what I like about him he gives credit where it's due. Now, when Mark Gahey scored a brilliant goal last week against Villa, I don't know whether you saw it, but it was a superbly taken goal. You know,
I
our
did see, I did
classy
see it.
defender.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a beautiful goal, beautiful to watch. It was a beautiful game in action. And in his vlog, which I only watched, I think, this past weekend, he said, what a beautiful goal, what a brilliant goal. Now, I like that. I like that an opposition, fans of the opposing team can actually recognise when something is brilliantly done.
Yeah.
And I'm sure most fans can recognise it. We just don't like to sort of admit it too much. So yeah. Anyway, I'm not sure why I went off on that tangent, but yeah, if that had been against us that we lost a player, I guess most of us would have said, well, he wasn't going towards goal, so that can't be the reason. But it was a bit of a dodgy tackle, but not as bad as some are when they get sent off. So I'd have been a bit down the middle on that. I think whether it's my team or the team last night, it probably was a bit soft.
Yeah. Well, I suppose it wouldn't have made any difference anyway because we were already three
No.
goals up at that stage, and we were into the, well, if not into the 90 minutes, we were into close to the 90 minutes. Not 90
Yeah,
minutes, 80 minutes. Sorry, we were closing to the 80 minutes, and I just thought, well, so if he hadn't been sent off, what difference would it have made? Perhaps maybe it would have been one goal less of the goal margin. Maybe 4 goals instead of 5 goals. Because the free kick that resulted from that was the one that was converted by Mark Gahey, which actually went in.
mm, yeah,
So that's
yeah.
that's yeah. But then whether or not, I didn't think they would have been able to score a goal anyway. And if they had managed to score maybe 1 or 2 goals, it still wouldn't have made any difference. We would still won. But in the end, it gave us a clean sheet. But what I'm looking at is, would have dampened their morale. I mean, they didn't have much to go on anyway.
Yeah, I
their
can't
bench
remember
was
what minute.
exhausted.
I can't remember what minute it was. I didn't think it was as late as the 80th minute, but you're probably right. It may have
Yeah,
been around that mark. Yeah, it wouldn't have made any difference to the end
no, it
result,
wouldn't have.
the end 5
Yeah,
nil, would it?
yeah.
So there's that. But again, it's almost it's something I've wondered before, and you've seen it happen sometimes when a team in a match, whatever the match, is say